Morning, good morning. It is midweek. I'm first warning meteorologist Eric Burris. This is Coffee Talk. We get together 7 days a week in the mornings at 8 o'clock to chat about what's going on in the world of weather. And it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Have you been out yet? I already took the dog out, did all of the things, got the kids to school. It is absolutely beautiful. So let us raise a cup. Let's drink and get the day started. Sound good? Sounds good to me. All right, top two things we are monitoring today. Cooler temperatures have moved in, but that's not all. You're going to need that hot cup of joe over the next couple of days. Yeah. Talk about a pattern shift after days and days and days and days and days of record heat across Central Florida. That bit of a trend has come to an end. Love that. Love that for us. All right, let's take a look outside, see what's doing on our tower cam network. Downtown looking good, a little bit of a haze. But this morning is not that kind of foggy morning. We're actually looking quite all right across Central Florida. We look at the visibility numbers and they're improved because we've got a nice breeze. And today you can see we're already 5, 10 in Kissimmee, 12 miles an hour. So there's a nice breeze coming in out of kind of the northeast or north. That is enough of a breeze to help the temperature. So obviously fog, a little bit here or there, not a big deal. Temperatures upper 60s, lower 70s across Central Florida. First warning, live Doppler radar is looking good. But let's look ahead. People, what a forecast we have got here. 75 by 11 o'clock, 78 by 1 o'clock, 80 degrees our high temperature today. Works for me. I like it. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Debbie, Annie, how are you? Terry, good morning. Good morning. Nikki, good morning. Good morning from Montreal, Nikki says. Saw snow flurries last night. Oh my gosh. For a second before I saw that you were in Montreal, I pre-read it and I'm like, you saw snow. You're not one of the crazy ones. And then I was like, oh, Montreal. Got it. Montreal. Okay. Nancy says, Happy Women's Day to you ladies. Is that a thing? Happy Women's Day. Happy Women's Day. How can we celebrate? Fran, good morning to you. Tina, good morning. Pat, good morning. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. David, howdy, howdy, howdy. Chris Pierce, good morning to you. April, how are you? Thank goodness the heat has broken, Beverly says. Indeed. Yeah, look at these temperatures today. It's a different story, right? What did we actually... I didn't even look to see. I was so focused on other things yesterday. Chris, I wasn't focused on the April forecast before you even ask. What did we get to in Orlando yesterday? Stand by. Oh, it's this one. I'm like, where's the column with the temperatures? All right, Orlando yesterday, so Daytona Beach hit 88, Sanford hit 88, Leesburg hit 88, Orlando hit 87. So we did not hit 90. All right. We did get to records yesterday in many locations, but yes, thank goodness the heat has broken. Beverly, you said it best. And this is just the start of a bit of a pattern shift. So upper 70s, Daytona Beach, mid 70s, Forest and Palm Coast, and lower 80s for most of town, though you go south of the metro, and we will find mid 80s in some of those spots. So yeah, for what it's worth, it's going to be a much different day today. A much different day today. A lovely day, as a matter of fact. I'll take that. Where is that graphic? No, that's not the one. Stand by. I got to type it in. I'm trying to show how, well, we can start. Let me hit that. We'll start here and just look at the almanac, the forecast temperatures for today versus the records. We are nowhere near that, right? None of our stations are there. So then it begs the question, what about the averages, right? How does that play out? Here's a look at the average high temperature versus the forecast high temperature. And today, that is the ballpark we're in. Orlando, a couple of ticks above average, but still in that vicinity. And we're going to be there next couple of days. Matter of fact, tomorrow, we're actually going to be even lower. So let's look real quick. Thursday afternoon. Okay? Look at our high temperature forecast for tomorrow. Lower, mid, upper 70s. Out west will be into the lower 80s. But you get the idea. Like the trending here is changing, right? Friday. Let's just go day by day. Back to the 80s. All right, but let's look at next week. You want to see something? Let's take a look at Tuesday. Take a look at this. What? 60s and 70s for highs? I'll give you a minute to let that settle in. I need a sip of coffee anyway. Yep. Yep. That's where we're at. So, good stuff. Good stuff. Chris says beat me to it. When can we expect to wash away some of the pollen? Yeah, so about that. We've got ourselves an interesting little frontal boundary that has helped to adjust things around. But if we look at the overall forecast, the front really didn't bring us much in the way of rainfall. Today, nice and comfy. Lovely weather. Love this for us. Yes, our allergies are awful. Pollen counts are off the charts. But remember this. We need to adjust these temperatures like this for today because summer is right around the corner. So let's just enjoy the little bit of what we've got. Tomorrow, nice and comfy, looking good. Friday, there is another front moving our direction. Friday into Saturday, this is going to be a relatively weak front. So we're not talking about a massive opportunity for showers. We're also not talking about a massive shift in temperatures. It just kind of, you see how Friday there's that 40% chance of showers and we get to 83 and then it pops us down to 81? Right. So all that front on Friday does is it kind of helps to stop the temperature climbing through the weekend. And then we've got a decent front coming in Monday. That's really going to help us drop the temperatures. Look at that Tuesday high of 74. You want to look at the raw model data with me? And again, this is one model run and one model, but take a look what happens once we get into Wednesday, right? Wednesday, high of 65, low of 45, and then we start to climb, and then we get a little cooler again. So we've finding ourselves. Can I try that again? We're finding ourselves in somewhat of a little bit of a cool stretch here. That's just the GFS. You get the idea. But that's something, people. I mean, that's something. This is model output, and it's one run. And if we go back and forth, we can find that it's going to bias one direction or another. But there's some shifts. There's some actual shifts happening here, people. The record heat chapter is closing for a little while. And that's why when everybody's like, well, can I trim my trees back? And I've always said, like, you're going to get that little sneaker. You're going to think that you're into spring and summer already, but Mother Nature's like, not so fast, Jedi. Not so fast. So there you go. There's your sign, right? Couple things, though, to go over here on the 7-day forecast. First off, yes, there's going to be that opportunity for showers on Friday, okay? Most importantly, I present to you our weekend forecast. Bright sunshine, maybe an isolated shower. Otherwise, a truly, truly lovely forecast. Right? A truly, truly lovely forecast. Now, Saturday night into Sunday, just a reminder, I'm trying to soften the blow here, people. I'm trying to make sure that we are prepared for this. I feel like one day in my lifetime, this will stop. I don't care which one we end up on. I probably would prefer to stay on daylight saving time. But I'm convinced sometime in my lifetime, we will stop this clock changing. Like, we're all used to it our whole lives, right? But, like, in this day and age, it's unnecessary, right? Like, we're putting we're putting something out there, and it's kind of fun, like, oh, we're into summer because the sun sets later. But, like, why are we changing our clocks? Truthfully, before, no lights, no motor car, not a single luxury, we would change our clocks, and that would made a little bit of sense, I guess. But for this, like, am I the only? I don't know. I know I'm not the only one. But at any rate, Saturday night before you go to bed, turn all the stovetop, the microwave, the 1980s alarm clock that you've still got set to Mix 105.1 or Magic 107.7 on your bedside table. Turn them all over. Your phone, your watch, if it's an Apple Watch, should be automatic. If it's I have a few automatic watches upstairs, and then when you're winding it, just remember to turn it that hour back. Yep. Oh, well. Gross. Unbelievable. At least we've got nice weather to do things like this, like play some golf. If you're heading out to play some golf today, a little breezy, so that weather may play it. Listen, you're terrible anyway, so the breeze, you could at least blame the breeze today. That's a good thing. That way when you're sitting at the 19th hole, you're like, I know, I'm buying everybody the round. I know I had the lowest score, but it was the weather. Listen, I've been making great strides. It's the weather. And then when they say, yeah, bull, then you're like, weather guy said I could. Weather guy said I could blame the weather. Oh, well. All right, so how are we doing? Any questions, any comments, any concerns whatsoever? Anything? What do you want to talk about? We've got launch forecasts we could talk about. We could break down the forthcoming rain chances. All of that stuff. Kelly says, no for the time change. I agree with you. This one particularly stinks because it's like I'm waking up an hour earlier. Courtney says, I could have sworn that this was the last time. Someone told me this was the last time. The politicians, they keep trying to do stuff, but it just never goes through. So, yeah. Yep. My doggy hates it too. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Audra, Chad, and Leslie, absolutely. I love them. Florida did vote to stop the time change, but it hasn't changed. Florida voted, but it never got passed. It had to go through congressional approval, so it hasn't passed yet. Beth says, I feel seen, my 80s clocks. You're not the only one, Beth. Everybody's got one. I actually, admission, I had one until we moved into this house, and then I got rid of it. Because it's like you got your phone, you got your Alexa device, you got your Google, hey Google, you got your Siri, and I was like, what am I doing? What am I keeping this around for? So, I don't anymore, but I'm trying to force myself to get rid of things that truly don't spark joy. Yeah. Catherine, are we still showing a cool snap coming up? Catherine, for you, we look to Tuesday. And that's not even the coolest day, Catherine. That's not even the coolest day. Yeah, we were just looking at the raw models, and because it's on another source, I can't circle it. But Catherine, that is Wednesday, March 15th. That's a high of 65. Morning low temperatures in the 40s. Yeah. I don't know why y'all watch me. I've got to have the most annoying voice on the face of the planet. Kenneth says, yay, 2 back-to-back launches confirmed. Today between 1 and 4 for Relativity, and tomorrow 2:13 for Falcon 9 carrying OneWeb. Yes. So today, and I don't know, the boss said that we're not sending the Weather Lab, and then the boss told me at the end of the day, come dressed, prepared to go on TV. So I'm like, this afternoon, this is a cool one. All right, now, Chris Pierce and I got into a little Twitter war yesterday over this, and then I think we resolved it like adults. This is a cool launch because it is a 3D printed rocket. Now, let me explain my Twitter war with Chris, because Chris is a smart man. and always calls me out. Chris is very good at that, which I appreciate, because the kind of people that I gravitate toward are people that don't try and, be all sweet for no reason. So I tweeted out, quote, "Friends, tomorrow is going to be a fun day along the Space Coast. First launch for Relativity Space's Terran 1 rocket. Mission name, good luck, have fun. Cool fact, 100% 3D printed rocket. Who's trying to get the boss to let him cover? Me." So I posted that. Chris responds, "I heard it was mostly 3D printed." Then I quote their website saying, "Terran 1, the first entirely 3D printed rocket." Then Chris responds with a tweet of theirs saying 85% 3D printed by mass. The key there has to be printed by mass, because at the end of the day, and this is where our Twitter war ended, he said maybe it's just a way of looking at it. The rocket shell was 3D printed, but not the rocket motors, certainly not the fuel or the wiring, that's correct. So by mass, 85%. But the rocket shell itself, 100% 3D printed. So here we are. It's a cool day, no matter what. It's a cool day. New rocket coming off of, is it 16, 17 launch complex? What's neat is that the launch complex that this is launching from today hasn't been used for anything since the 80s. And the last crewed mission off of it was in the 1960s, I believe, during the Gemini chapter. What? Obviously, it's not a crewed mission. It is very much a test mission. Literally, the name is Good Luck, Have Fun. But launch window opens up at 1 p.m. and runs from 1 to 4. People, listen. This is fun. And as a matter of fact, Relativity tweeted. When did they tweet this? Oh, a couple of minutes ago. "It's launch day for Terran 1. Let's send it." And they took this this is a really pretty picture of the rocket on the stand today. So that's cool. I'm going to be pushing to cover this one. It's just cool. It's not every day that you have a brand new rocket company sending up a brand new rocket. It's very fun. Okay? So that's definitely something we're going to be watching. Susan says, "Voice meh, info top notch." Thank you. See, I appreciate the honesty. Resolved like adults. You stomped off. No stomping. No stomping. Chris says, "My daughter's listening and laughing hysterically about Chris is a smart man. The rocket motors are actually 3D printed." Chris, now you're going and frustrating me. Whatever it is, the dang rocket itself is, by mass, 85% 3D printed, but the rocket itself is fully, as they say. So whatever it is. It's cool, okay? It's cool. Trust me. Rita, what is it printed with? Some sort of metal alloy? I haven't heard of metal being used in additive manufacturing yet. It's funny. I was having this conversation, and literally the discussion was like, well, I guess it's just really strong plastic is what I said. I don't know. I need to do some more research. If the boss is sending me, I'm going to go into a deep dive on this. If not, I'll probably still do a deep dive. It's cool as heck, though. It's so cool. So today from 1 to 3, the nice thing is they're just trying to hit low Earth orbit. They're not, like if you hit the International Space Station, you have like an instantaneous launch window because you're trying to fire an arrow with a bow and arrow on a moving target. So you have to time it out perfectly. That's rocket science. With this, they're just testing the dang thing. Just trying to see that it does. So there's that. Yesenia says, "As an engineer, I find this super interesting and cool." It is super interesting and cool. It's not quite as big as a Falcon 9, but there's a need for these, these small sats. And so like Astra, Firefly, there's all these companies that are trying to put together their little methods to get up to space. Relativity is the newest one here along the coast. So it is super cool. Yesenia, I will also say if you Google Relativity Space, their website is very informational, talking about what it does. And their payload to low Earth orbit is actually impressive for the size of the rocket. And I would go further on to say, the nerd in me, see, y'all are going to make me do this. Relativity Space. Okay, so here's their website. Hold on. Let me make it so that it fits decently in this window here. All right, so this is their website. The nerd in me wants to point out, okay, so there's the manufacturing part. This is their website. Like, that's it. Okay. But to me, what's particularly cool, being the nerd that I am, that relativity, that's printed in the USA. That's cool, right? To me, what's cool is that, in addition to all the other nerd stuff, the fonting of the word relativity for their company name, Static Fire, very cool. That font is the Space Shuttle font. Yeah. Tad, that's funny. Metal additive manufacturing is called welding. That is funny. Anyway, but their website is very cool. It'll be live streamed. I will live stream it. Relativity is scheduled to have its first launch, Terran 1, today, called GLHF. Good luck, have fun. So it's, what did I say? It was 16. I couldn't remember if it was 16 or 17. So it's 16. Launch window opens up at 1300, so 1 p.m. First orbital attempt. Okay, so it's 110 feet, so it's about half the size of a Falcon 9. Okay, the world is the largest 3D printed object to exist and to attempt orbital flight. 85% 3D printed by mass. Okay, so all the engines are 3D printed and use liquid oxygen and liquid natural gas. All right, so there's information on the rocket. But here's the thing, okay? I got that it was fully 3D printed because if you click the rockets tab, where is it? It says it on here somewhere. My buddy Miguel, my best friend Miguel, calls me when I'm on Coffee Talk. I'll have to get him back. Anyway, it had it on there. There's some cool stuff. It's just cool stuff. But like the payload, it's just very neat. So relativityspace.com is their website. And yes, you better believe I'm going to do everything I can to stream that launch. And if I can get the boss to let me go, you better believe I'm going to be out there today. You better believe. We aren't making you do anything you didn't want to. We will be the Jetsons before. Look, I feel like we're already on our way to that, right? 100 times fewer parts. See, that's where it gets interesting. Houses are being 3D printed. I think that the future is here. Kenneth says SLC 16, best seen from Port Canaveral. I need to find where, if I go in the weather lab, see, that's what's interesting. If I go in the weather lab, where should I go, though? That's what I have to figure out, is if I'm rolling the weather lab, where exactly should we go? So that's today. Relativity, super cool. Okay, so that's today. Forecast, 90% chance of good weather for it. It's a big honking window, all that fun stuff. Yeah. All right. Then we move on to tomorrow. OneWeb. Falcon 9 is going to be twice the rocket size. I believe this is off of SLC 40. I believe it's SLC 40. Yeah, this one, 95% chance of good weather, booster recovery. I believe that this is a return to landing site, an RTLS. So that also means that booster recovery doesn't play in because it's coming back to the Cape. I believe so. So wind shear not a concern, a couple of cumulus clouds. I do want to tell you, one of the things that I have worked on, this was what I was working on yesterday, was launch weather criteria for the different rockets. So there's, I came up with this for the Falcon 9. I came up with this for the Atlas V, just so that as we get into launch coverage for Starliner and further crewed missions, that we'd be able to cover all of the elements of weather. I'm trying to nerd out with y'all, okay? Jetty Park or boat dock, but don't tell everyone. My thing though is do I need to like check in with them before if I'm heading over to Jetty Park? That's what I need to figure out. Yeah, so that's what I need to figure out. I'll figure it out. Don't you worry. All right? You can have your house printed out in about 10 months. My house was built in 6 months. Isn't that wild, by the way? All right. Anyway, there we are. Forecast today, not as hot. Tomorrow, not as hot. Showers Friday with our next front. Then we look to beautiful weather for this weekend. Showers on Monday, and it's going to be getting cooler. Looking ahead to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah. Kenneth says park, yes. I just need to figure out who I need to call to get into Jetty Park. That I need to figure out. All right? All right, that's all we got. I have an appointment on Zoom at 8:30, so I'm going to go a couple seconds early today. I hope that's okay. Either way, I'll see you today at 3:30 for the afternoon coffee talk. We'll check in on the latest model data, all that fun stuff. And hopefully we'll have a neat little rocket. I'll be streaming it if I have any ability to, which I should be able to. And, I'll stream it live. And if they send me out, you better believe we're nerding out to a special Facebook Live deal. All right? Sound good? Sound good? Listen, be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you for hanging out for Coffee Talk. I will see you all at 3:30 and maybe earlier if they let me. All right. Bye, y'all.